wake-up call. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa sallallahu wa sallam wa barak ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam tasliman kathira wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-ali al-azim. Allahumma allimna ma yanfa'una wa anfa'na bima 'allamtana wa zidna 'ilma. In the 6th hijrah of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he married Habiba, the daughter of the famous Qurayshi leader and the founding fathers of Banu Umayyah, Sufyan ibn Harb, ibn Umayyah, ibn Abd al-Shams, ibn Abd Manaf. And there they meet the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Abu Sufyan, his original name was Sakhar ibn Harb, tough name. He was a leader, a very tough person. Only entered Islam all the way into the end of his life, end of the Prophet ﷺ's life, around after Fath Makkah. So the Prophet ﷺ was related to Abu Sufyan as an uncle, distant uncle. So his daughter, Ramala, who's also known as Habiba, nicknames Habiba, and that's how she is known, the mother of Habiba, that was her daughter. The Prophet ﷺ so is related to her as a distant cousin. The Prophet ﷺ is in Medina. Many people, as we know, that they moved to for the first hijrah. No, the first hijrah. Habasha. The second hijrah, also Habasha.
Second hijrah, Habasha.
And then the third one was the hijrah to Medina, right? So Ramla, Habiba, she was married to a person named Ubaydullah ibn Jahsh al-Asadi. According to one narration, he left Islam after he migrated with her and their daughter Habiba. Some scholars say she was born in Mecca, and some say that after they moved to Habasha, she was born there. However, according to one narration, that he left Islam. He kind of liked Christianity and he accepted Christianity, and some people say he was drinking and all of that. And she saw in her dream saying, she saw her husband, Ubaydullah, saying that, I love Christianity and so on and so forth. And, I always loved Christianity, then I saw Islam and I loved Islam, and now I saw Christianity again, so I'm going back. However, someone is saying to her, "Oh, Mu'mineen, the mother of the believers," and she just wakes up with that. Wow. And she's amazed that this thing is happening. Someone is calling me, meaning that I will marry the Prophet ﷺ. Sure enough, the Prophet ﷺ sends his proposal according to one narration, and the one narration suggests that Najashi, he is the one who proposed her to the Prophet ﷺ, and according to one, that Uthman ibn Affan, as he was first cousin to Ramla, he is the one who was the wali who brought the message, and he proposed the Prophet ﷺ to Habiba. However, the King Najashi, this is something very amazing, that as a Christian place, Christian land, Christian country, kingdom, leader, king, he accepts Islam first. That's an amazing thing. And as we know that the Prophet ﷺ, and this is the only case where he did janazah for someone who was not present, was Najashi. So he had a big role, and he was a key figure in this marriage. And Aisha radiallahu anha, she says something amazing about this marriage. She says that Ramla, Habiba, had the most in mahr. Most of the azwaj al-mutahharat, their mahr was 400 dirham. According to one narration, her mahr was 400 dinar. One dinar is equivalent to 10 dirhams. So it's 4,000 dirham. So she had the most. And the second is that she was the farthest when she got married to the Prophet ﷺ. She was in a different land. So it is mentioned that that Najashi, he himself conducted the marriage, and he gave the mahar, and he did a walima. He invited all the people of the area. Invited. It was a big feast. He did the walima for this marriage, for this blessed marriage. So it's very interesting that how someone who became a place of refuge, they were all refugees in that land, and then he honored them, and especially honored the Prophet ﷺ by conducting this marriage of someone who's although Qurayshi from Mecca, but it happened in his land, in his place. She goes back to Medina. She moves into Medina with the Prophet ﷺ. This thing all happened in the 6th year of Hijrah, and she lived on all the way until the Khilafah of her, the Banu Umayyah Khilafah, Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan. So it was the Khilafah of her brother. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings people to Islam in different ways, and she is not only the wife of the Prophet ﷺ, but also a daughter of a leader, one of the great leaders of Quraysh. And it's very interesting that in Islam, in our tradition, we have a certain aspect of ghayra. In Urdu, they say ghayra. Ghayra is, in Arabic, or in Urdu, it means to be protective of something that you hold so dear and precious to yourself, like your honor. If someone is going to step over your toes, you're not going to let that happen. That's your ghira, that you have to stand up. If someone is insulting your family, your wife, your daughter, your son, you will stand and fight back. That's your ghira. And then there's a ghira and that feeling for the tradition, which is the most important thing. The ghira of deen is the most important thing. And that's what the Sahaba had. And because they were always at war with one another, and there was this climate that was nothing like today. Her father came to visit her house, and he came in. At that time, he wasn't Muslim. Abu Sufyan enters the house, and she's a daughter. She should offer a guest, her father, someone noble, bedding. But what she did instead, she wrapped up the bedding and put away. He said, "I'm not going to let someone who's a mushrik sit on the Prophet ﷺ's bedding." That's the ghira that she had for the deen, and particular for her husband. And she was ready to forsake that relationship that she had with her own father. So from this, the Prophet ﷺ also taught us, family, your house, your household, everything in your house is precious, and you have to have ghira, a certain level of protection, and there's no actually translation proper word for this word. It's very hard to find that proper word in English. But however, I would just use the word ghira. The Prophet ﷺ said that the wife should not allow someone who her husband dislikes for that person to sit on his bed. She should not allow that person to sit on that bed. أَلَّا يَطَأْنَ فُرُوشَهُنَّ مَنْ يَكْرَهُ, that someone that your husband dislikes for that person to enter the house, the wife should not allow that person inside the house. It's one of the rights of the family. It's one of the ghira that you have with a family, and that coordination that you have with your own family. Likewise, a man is supposed to be protective to the honor of his wife, and to make sure that he provides. He's the person who is responsible for that. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made these rules for us, for our benefit. It's not to suppress or make someone better than the other. That's not the purpose. It's to have a proper system, a proper family, in a meaningful, in a healthy relationship, a healthy family. So these are important lessons. In this day and age, sometimes it's hard to even understand these concepts because we always see the opposite of these things. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us that ghira of iman, the ghira of our deen and our tradition. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to elevate the ranks of the Ummahat al-Mu'mineen, in particular Habiba radiallahu anha, who was then buried in al-Baqi' in Medina Munawwara with the other wives of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Subhanallah bihamdi, subhanallah al-azim, subhanakallah bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.